video, and we're going to be recording. We're going to be reacting to videos. So this is part 2. Can't find it anywhere. Let me see here. Oh, I think it's right here. Yep, there it is. He's gonna be in trouble. The fish broke the fishing rod?
Take your mark. Go. Oh my god!
She's frozen to death. Oh, stunt. That's a stunt he's doing. Oh my god. What do you do that for? But let's just watch it. Stunt jump failed. Wow, nice shot. Oh, the boy was like, wah! Bye bye. Why are they playing Turn It Down for What song with crashing? It's a boat wreck. That's a boat wreck. That's a boat wreck. I don't know what this guy's doing. I think he's mad. Why is definitely mad? Hi. What's that? Okay, that was funny. I think it's after this one, huh? I think it's after this one. I mean, I don't know which one it is. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Hi. Where is that? Okay, let's watch it. Shouldn't did that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. Oh, Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus. Oh, shit. Whoa, whoa. That was awesome.
That wasn't awesome. You almost blew the cars up. What was it? The dog just farted. Oh, I know that trick where you shot yourself and go.
I just f***ing shot myself.
He said, I F word shot myself. He said, I F word shot myself. I think he said, I just shot my... I don't know what he said there.
Open the blinds and maybe we're gonna see some stars out today.
What is that? I think that's a skeleton, but that was just really funny. Oh, don't do that, kids. You might fall like that guy on Minecraft. She fell down the stairs. I beat it. I think okay, guys. I'm gonna react to scary videos now. The most top. I think his name is called Top 5. I think his name is called. Yeah, that's him right there. That's him.
Mysterious videos are everywhere, be that unexplained creatures spotted in forests to supposed ghosts caught on camera. But the trouble is, many mysterious videos we've all seen a million times over, and even though some of them still remain unsolved, they are nothing new. Well, I have done some serious digging and found 5 pretty unusual videos that have not yet been solved, and that you hopefully have never seen before. So, from one of the most unusual live streams I've ever seen, that has been going on for nearly 10 years, to a video reported to show a mythical South American creature, here are 5 mysterious videos that need some explaining. As always, sit back and enjoy. This video would not have come to my attention if it hadn't been for Jan, who kindly sent it and translated it for me. It was filmed in the Czech Republic on the 24th of December 2011 by a man who was driving from a city called Pilsen when he found himself in the middle of a blizzard. He decided to stop, grab his camera and record the atrocious conditions, and this is when he spotted what he thought was someone in need of help. However, he soon realized the figure in front of him was transparent, with no eyes and no mouth. It also appeared to be waving, as if to try and stop the car. Take a look.
That's just scary. Okay.
After the video had come to light, A local news channel picked it up, and paranormal experts claimed that it is authentic and is one of the only pieces of authentic ghost footage from the Czech Republic. They concluded it was a case of residual haunting, meaning that the soul of the deceased resides in the place of their death. This would make sense, as the place where the footage was taken is a notorious black spot and has been the scene of many traffic accidents. This was especially poignant for the man who filmed it, as he had lost a friend of his 20 years previously in a car crash, in roughly the same spot. So could it be that it was the ghost of his friend, or another ghost warning him to be careful as he headed deeper into the blizzard? Or is the supposed figure just part of the blizzard, and our minds think it's a person? What do you think? This is one of those stories where the more you read, the stranger it gets.
There are some pretty clever and well thought out prison escapes. I'm baffled by some of them. These guys are just so damn smart. Well, there's been many successful escapes in the past, but there are those who are just foolish and just plain dumb prison escapes. Like, what were some of these guys thinking? So you know what? This is gonna be a fun one. This is the top 10 prison escapes that failed horribly. Part 2. Part 1, there's cards over here. Starting off this list, and at number 10, with this bloody failed escape. An inmate attempted to escape prison inside of an inmate bathroom that's closed off from view due to privacy. Of course, right? I thought jail had no privacy, actually. Well, this escape, however, it failed horribly, because when he was seen exiting the bathroom covered in blood and the ceiling completely destroyed, apparently the inmate tried to escape from the ceiling, but then realized it was impossible. So then he decided to try to put the ceiling back in place. So now this inmate is facing charges of attempted to escape and destruction of property as well. Just throw that one in there. I bet his ego is pretty bruised as well. Next up on this list, number 9, we have handcuffed prisoners who failed miserably. 2 New Zealand prisoners who were handcuffed together attempted to flee from a courthouse. However, they both ran on opposite sides of this lamppost, slammed into each other, fell on the ground, probably just blacked out. They probably just knocked each other out. The prison guards captured them so easily. They probably didn't even struggle. They're just like, yeah, can you just take me back? I want to see a doc, and what's for dinner tonight in the prison? So yeah, they're caught, and now they're facing charges of escaping custody very stupidly. Failing its way into number 8, we're talking about the busted cat. A cat was captured in a Brazilian prison with saws, drills, and a mobile phone strapped to his body that was supposed to be used in a prison escape. Some inmates trained this cat to deliver mobile phones and tools that were needed to dig a tunnel. Apart from the cat looking super obvious, can you just imagine you're just a guard and a cat just going by with like a cell phone strapped to it? Like, come on, what's going on here? You can just pick up the cat. Prison escape has just ended. It's like the easiest bust ever. This was like the worst plan ever executed. So to top it all off, this cat, well, he can't rat on the inmates who trained him. So I guess no one really got busted here, but still the prison escape was halted right there. Number 7 brings us to the man who knocked on a prison guard's door. What? James Edward Russell conspired to break out of an Olympic Correction Center, which is a minimum security facility. He successfully made it over the fencing, and he had planned on borrowing a phone from the first house that he came across, and then hitch a ride away, like, from the prison. Just get as far as he can get. Everything was going smoothly, until he knocked on the cabin door that belonged to a prison guard. Hey, oh, shoot. Damn, Daniel. Like, what was this guy thinking? I mean, bad timing, I guess. After a brief fight, the fugitive was brought back to the facility, and now he faces more time for the attempted escape. Now, in at number 6 is a dramatic escape attempt. But of
What are you guys playing?
Supposed to be playing Game
I know
Over.
this
one player
person.
keeps kicking my ass. Is it the Legend 27? Yeah, the Legend 27.
Who's the legend?
I'm gonna get a
Sorry,
drink
Scott
again.
Cawthon. I'm tired of waiting for you. This
Okay, guys, I just got a drink, so let's start the video again.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, where instead of waiting for FNAF 4 to be released, this time we're getting out ahead of the game. Or at least that was the plan. Scott, I swear you are the biggest internet troll out there. Oh, it's being released October 31st. Okay, let me plan my entire schedule around that. Never mind, it's now in August. Okay, fine, let me rework everything. Lols, here's the full version now. You, Scott Cawthon, are the the reason I have an emotional dependence on Diet Coke. But today I'll be sipping that sweet, sweet Diet Coke in sweet, sweet victory. Because guess what? I win! Scott, in your rush to get the game out, to get out ahead of my theories and completely flim-flam the internet and shock everyone by releasing the game 3 months early, you missed a huge detail. Maybe before releasing the game, you should have spent a bit more time researching, because this game, as you've presented it, is impossible. Let me explain. Basically, it's all but confirmed at this point that in FNAF 4, you play as the victim of the bite of 87, and that this game is either his nightmare or what he's seeing in a coma as he recovers from his injuries. Let me run you through the evidence real quick so that we're all on the same page. First, in the months leading up to the release of the game, there were clues hidden in the source code for some of the teasers on Scott's website, with the numbers 8787 repeated over and over again. 2 numbers that anyone who hasn't been living under a rock will recognize as a key date in the franchise's lore, the bite of 87. This is further supported by the text on the teaser images. All of the pictures released on the site basically ask the same question: was it me? Which seems to refer to the actual attacker of the bite itself. But there was one more word we saw repeated throughout the teasers: nightmare. Hidden over top of multiple teaser images was that exact word. That, combined with the Freddy Krueger-ish design of the animatronics, with teeth and claws everywhere, something far different from how we've seen these things designed in the past, seemed to indicate that this would be the way a child would imagine these creatures if he had had a traumatic experience with them, making it seem like what we would be playing would be a dream. Couple that with some evidence from the trailer. The first words are, "What is it you think you see?" making us question the reality of the images in the game. But there was also something that everyone seemed to overlook about this trailer: the appearance of the number 4. Scott doesn't do things randomly, as I'm sure we're all aware by now. And notice the movement of the 4. It starts off in a horizontal plane, like it was laying down on something, say a bed, but then wakes up to stand vertically before the trailer ends. Even that remnant red rectangle is meant to symbolize the bed. Everything seems to be letting us know that what we're seeing isn't really real, it's a dream, or better yet, a nightmare. Now, fast forward to the game's release, or I suppose casually meander to the game's release, since it wasn't too long afterwards, and we see that this theory still holds. Flowers, an IV, and pills will occasionally show up next to your bed. Classical medical supplies that show us that this is a child in recovery. Foxy, who's hiding in a closet, will transform back to a plush toy if you hold the door closed on him long enough, making it seem like this was all a dream or hallucination. And of course, the biggest piece of evidence of all, the cutscene that ends night 5, which, if you don't want a spoiler, click here to skip. All of you skipped now? Good. Actually shows the bite of 87 take place in the mouth of the Golden Fredbear. This is further supported by the quote-unquote boss of the game being that same Golden Fredbear, where in the final nights, he's the one who ends up stalking you. All the other animatronics disappear. You're being haunted by the suit that bit you. So yeah, that's it. All the evidence points to the victim of 87 being our protagonist, the character we're playing as in FNAF 4. Good job, Scott. You finally put together a game with a coherent plotline.
Yeah.
Except,
Let me see.
you didn't.
Let me see.
Scott Cawthon, if all of us are right in our theory, then you, sir, are wrong. Just when it looked like you were making a game that actually adhered to its own lore, you also made a game that is completely impossible from a scientific perspective. Loyal theorists, it's time we give Scott's latest bag of tricks a little lesson in real-life science. While frontal lobe injuries aren't as uncommon as people think, actually they happen all the time in car accidents, playing football, falling down, etc., having your whole frontal lobe bitten off has a much more profound impact on mental and physical functions. It would come with a whole slew of symptoms from motor skill impairment to nervous system issues, but the side effects we're most concerned with today would all be psychological. Removal of the frontal lobe significantly impacts the victim's ability to process certain types of stimuli, specifically ear stimuli. Let me give you some backstory. In the good old 1940s and 50s, psychiatrists often thought the best way to cure problems with the brain were to cut pieces out. Feeling depressed? Well, let's slice that out. Overly aggressive? That that chunk probably wasn't important. As such, there are extremely well-documented studies of patients without frontal lobes, and what's fascinating about them was what happened to their fear response. Patients without a frontal lobe become uninhibited because they no longer have a fear response. Way back in my Fallout episode, we looked in depth at the most famous accidental lobotomy in history, Phineas Gage, who literally had an iron rod shot straight through his head, completely destroying his left frontal lobe. One of the most striking differences between pre-Pole Phineas and post-Pole Phineas was his sense of inhibition, and by that I mean post-Pole Phineas had none. He had no sense of caution, no sense of fear or self-consciousness. He was described to be impulsive to the point of being rude and vulgar in public. No fear, no anxiety, no social pressure anywhere. Going back to the game, one of the things Scott does a great job of throughout the FNAF franchise is putting you in the eyes of Mike or Jeremy or whoever. We feel invested in our protagonist because we are that character. But in this case, that's scientifically impossible, specifically because of the bite of 87. If the main character of this game truly is Little Timmy Lost a Lobe, he wouldn't wander around a house clicking a flashlight on and off. Why would he? He doesn't care, because tragically, he no longer has the capacity to care. His brain structure no longer allows it. As if this weren't enough, a frontal lobe injury also tampers with concentration and attention span. The main character in the game is still supposed to be concentrated over a long period of multiple hours. But the thing is, patients without frontal lobes don't have this ability. In fact, they can only stay focused on what they see immediately happening in front of them. A child missing a frontal lobe who repeatedly turned a flashlight on and off in a hallway without seeing anything would lose interest. They wouldn't have the mental wiring necessary to concentrate on self-preservation. They would literally just go back to bed. The game is impossible the way it's being presented, because it would literally be over before it began. But the final and biggest nail in the coffin for this one is how
Sorry
frontal lobe
guys, I
injuries
haven't been
affect the
talking that much.
imagination. The frontal lobe controls a ton of mental processing abilities, including dreams. You might think that an uncontrollable imagination would lead to exactly the kind of nightmares or hallucinations you see in this game, but in fact, it's the exact opposite. Rigorous studies have been done on the imaginations and dream states of lobotomized patients. While patients without a frontal lobe can have dreams, one thing they can't have is nightmares. Patients missing a frontal lobe carry their lack of fear and inhibition straight into their dreams. And why not? It makes sense. If the mind isn't registering fear consciously, there's no reason to process it subconsciously in a dream. Studies show that lobotomized patients can dream about idyllic scenarios, money, fame, praise, but they can't dream about the monsters under
Let's
the
get
bed.
a different
Or
video.
in this case, the foxy in the closet, making the nightmare...
Can I just add?
Today, we end the horror. Today, we solve FNAF. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, where, after months of intensive therapy, I'm back to finally put the original FNAF tetralogy to rest. It's done. No more Halloween updates, no more FNAF 5 rumors, and no more fan. Suck on that, you multi-bladed propeller of air. So shortly after my last Freddy theory, I arranged a live stream with some fellow FNAFers to close the book on the series. And what happened was something that none of us expected.
We have internet.
We have it, we're back.
No, not the stream issues. Scott started talking to us. Well, kinda. He kept updating his site, scottgames.com, with cryptic messages as to the true meaning of the game. What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. In the FNAF 4 minigame, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? And finally, 4 games, 1 story. It was incredible! After a year of taking shots in the dark, finally we were, in a way, hearing back from the man who knew all the answers. Scott Cawthon, the creator, was reaching out from the shadows to give us, for pretty much the first time ever, concrete leads as to where to look. But what did these cryptic clues mean? In the moment, the best I could do was this. Is it possible that FNAF 2 didn't actually happen? But in the days that followed, those 3 clues led theorists on Reddit, Steam, and YouTube to completely throw out everything that they knew about the franchise. What if we were looking at the franchise all wrong? Instead of counting animatronic toes, calculating minimum wage rates, and tracking Purple Guy's work history, maybe we needed to take a step back. What if everything in FNAF was just a dream? That's right, a FNAF dream theory, that everything we play through in these games was created in the mind of the FNAF 4's crying child. It sounds like a cop-out, right? Like a lazy storytelling cliche. Maybe. But stay with me. Even if you think you've heard parts of this theory before, you'll want to stick around. I've unearthed the clues that finally put our year and a half of FNAF speculating to rest. Of the 3 clues Scott gave us that day, the most damning one was the last one. Why would Tiny Toy Chica be missing her beak? What? In the FNAF 4 minigame, you can talk to a small girl on the playground with toy versions of Bonnie, Freddy, and Chica, but her beak is missing? During the stream, we were all like, Scott, please. But when we looked, sure enough, there it was. A few orange pixels laying on the ground. What? Seriously? This was the crucial detail all of us had missed. And yet, for as absurd as it may sound, those 5 pixels changed everything, upending a year worth of theorizing, because that missing beak directly parallels FNAF 2's new version of Chica, who loses her beak when she goes on the attack. It was something we all had written off as a graphical glitch or a design choice, not as a clue to the meaning of the entire series, and yet here it was from the creator's mouth. And that is when it started to click. FNAF 2's shiny new animatronics. What are they called? Toy animatronics. And that's not just a cute name the community came up with, like Freddles. It's right there in the custom night menu. It's canon. That's a strange name for a bunch of robots, right? Unless it's meant to be taken literally, and then they're all just a bunch of oh my god. What if they are toys, and this is all just a dream scenario inspired by these little guys? Well, let's keep going with this toy clue. I mean, obviously, the toy animatronics are shiny, plastic-looking fake, just like a small plastic action figure would be. But it explains a bigger question about FNAF 2, the look and design of Mangle. I mean, seriously, the story we're told to believe in this game is pretty absurd. That kids just rip it apart and put it back together again, and so the employees just leave it as a mangled collection of parts for small children to play with. What parent would ever be comfortable letting little Timmy touch that thing? Oh, and here's a cute thing for you to play with. Oh my gosh, who could have seen that coming? But if we assume FNAF 2 is in the mind of a child who has seen all these toys, Mangle makes a whole lot more sense. He's just a dismantled toy. Think about Sid from Toy Story, who fuses various toys together to create hideous abominations. This explains Mangle's 2 heads. I don't care how much you redesign Foxy, no one planned him to have 2 heads. In fact, note that Mangle appears in a girl's room. An insignificant detail? I don't think so. The Chica Beak shows that this girl's toys fall apart, just like Mangle, the tear-apart, put-back together toy. And toys explain FNAF 1, too. The crying child of FNAF 4 has 4 plushies in his room. The crew from FNAF 1. Plushies, as in soft, stuffed animals. What are the original 4 animatronics made out of? Soft materials. Fur and fabric, not plastic like the toys. So much so that the one thing that we hear about them throughout the series is that these old animatronics collect odors and never get washed, just like an overused and overloved stuffed animal. But the parallels don't stop there. Why is Foxy out of order in FNAF 1? Well, the plushie he's based on is missing its head. How about Foxy's jump scare popping in abruptly from behind a wall? It's awfully similar to the way the brother scares the crying child throughout FNAF 4. In his Foxy mask, no less. And how's Golden Freddy fit into this? Well, in the hidden FNAF 4 Easter egg, we see on the TV that the show Fredbear and Friends features the Golden Fredbear alongside the core 4 of Foxy, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. That's your cast from the first game. The dream of FNAF 1 was inspired by this show and the plushies, hence it not containing any of the other animatronics. Even the fact that the child doesn't have a Golden Freddy plush, and that instead he has his imaginary friend, psychic friend Fredbear, who appears and disappears at will, directly references Golden Freddy's ghostly behavior in FNAF 1 and 2. In fact, every game, design detail, and animatronic can be explained under this theory. The recurring elements of the phone and the fan, right there from some of his favorite toys. The fact that no one in their right mind would work in a place like this? Dream, firing an employee for something like odor? It's a child's imagination of what employment is like. How about the weird metaphysical hoops that you have to jump through to access FNAF 3's minigames? Well, Dreams have weird rules where dialing codes into cinder blocks makes perfect sense. FNAF 3's Springtrap is directly inspired by the girl in her golden body finger puppet that pinches and traps her finger. The idea that the animatronics stuff you into suits comes from this girl spreading the urban legend that if you die, they hide your body and never tell. The naked endoskeletons come from his time trapped in the supply room. Balloon Boy is the dream version of this kid, excited to go to the birthday party. They even have a single balloon each. Even the oddballs of Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie fit under this theory. They're the product of the crying child being freaked out by the shadows that Golden Freddy and Bonnie cast onto the wall. And while we're on the subject of shadows, Dream Theory even rolls up the purple guy. Let's pull in Scott's second clue. What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. Yes, he could be referencing the shadow animatronics, which are literal shadows, but what he's more likely referencing is Purple Guy helping a fellow employee put on the yellow suit. They're in a dark, shadowy room, and what the kid sees, or what he thinks he sees, is someone getting violently stuffed into a suit when it's just a mascot putting on its head.
Okay,
Think about how
guys,
dramatic it'd be
I
if
think
you were
we
a
should
kid and
call
you were
it
at
here,
Disneyland
guys,
and then
for
saw Mickey
part
Mouse suddenly
3.
take off its head. It would blow your mind. But we all know that there's no murder
That's
happening.
funny.
It's just
So bye,
employees going
guys.
about the day.
Okay.